welcome to Gagro.net. This is Gagro Live on Facebook. My name is Wali Sarkisian with Harut Sassounian. Harut Sassounian is journalist, writer, and publisher. Harut, welcome.
Thank you, Wally.
So tell us, what is going on? Do we still have Artsakh?
Well, in the 2020 war, we lost most of Artsakh and the surrounding territories, but now there's a risk on Armenia itself. As we know, the Azeris have repeatedly invaded the territories of the Republic of Armenia. They did it last May 12, 2021. And they're still there from a year and a half ago. And they did it again last month in September. They advanced more. So now we have to worry not only about Artsakh, we have to worry about Armenian territories.
Yeah. Do you think this whole thing was planned? The way, if you look at all the sequence of events last 2 years,
well, I usually go by evidence, so I need to see documents and proof. I don't want to just accuse people without any evidence. A lot of people say a lot of things. A lot of people say it's planned, that Pashinyan is sent by outside powers, etc. I don't really think like that. I don't believe that, because you can criticize Pashinyan for all the wrong things he's doing without accusing him of being an agent and sent by foreign powers and things like this.
Okay, so basically today he said Artsakh have to deal with Azerbaijan. We have nothing to do with it almost. Didn't he said that?
Well, I mean, it's very upsetting, but not surprising, because long before he became prime minister, he used to be an editor of a newspaper, and he wrote many editorials in his paper saying things like Artsakh is a burden to Armenia, and the sooner we get rid of Artsakh, the better Armenia will be. So he never really believed in Artsakh, and he said this more than once. And until he became prime minister, when he became prime minister, all of a sudden now, like on many other issues, like on Russia and other things, he constantly reversed himself. He was totally anti-Russian, anti-Russian base in Gyumri, anti-Russian economic union, anti the OSCE, the OTSC, the military alliance with Moscow. He was against everything. And then when he became prime minister, he now starts saying the opposite. So on Artsakh also, he now starts saying, now meaning 4 years ago, starts saying Artsakh is Armenia, period. And then he also said, I have no authority over Artsakh. It's a separate country, Republic of Artsakh. The previous leaders were of Artsakh origin. Maybe they had the right to negotiate on behalf of Artsakh, but I do not. I was elected by the people in Armenia. So, of course, once again, he also contradicted himself on that score, because when the war was over on November 9 or 10, 2020, he signed the infamous agreement giving away a lot of the territory surrounding Artsakh and part of Artsakh and Shushi, etc. And no one has asked him, who gave you the authority to give away territories that you have nothing to do with, not part of Armenia? You have no right to sign such a document. So these are constant contradictions. Yeah, we can go on many other examples, like he kept saying for 4 years, diaspora Armenians, we should give them the right to come in and assume high positions in Armenia. There are a lot of experts that can help us from diaspora. But in 4 years, he has never once lifted a finger, tried to make that happen. The majority of the parliament are his political party. So if he submits a law, they can pass it the same day. And it goes on and on. A couple of weeks ago, he said in parliament that I'm ready to sign a very painful agreement with Azerbaijan. People may call me traitor, may be angry at me, criticize me, but I'm going to do what I think is best for the country. And obviously, clearly was talking about signing a document that's going to give up a lot of Armenia's interests. So when people came out by the thousands in the street and surround the parliament, they were so angry by what they heard. He goes home to his Facebook page, which is his favorite place, and he says, "Oh, I was misunderstood. I didn't mean what I said," and on and on. It's just constant contradiction, constant going back and forth. You can't rely on anything he says. He himself doesn't know what he's doing. When he talks, he just says whatever at that moment comes to his head. It's not thought out. It's not based on his advisors who can look at speeches. Heads of state usually don't just get up and start saying things. They prepare a speech, they show it to their aides, ministers, and they go over it, they make comments, and then he decides the final wording. But in this case, he doesn't ask anybody to help him, and the people he's appointed are not of the caliber to be able to help him on anything. He's appointed a bunch of incompetent people around him, and if miracle happens and one of them says something useful to him, he ignores their advice. He doesn't listen to them. So, as they say, he neither knows nor is willing to learn anything, which is the worst combination that someone can have. Either you know something, then you don't need to listen to anybody, or if you don't know something, then you listen to people. In his case, he neither knows nor listens. So it's a hopeless case.
Isn't that what they call a dictator?
Yeah, it's a one-man rule. It's a dictatorship. And it's ironic that this man came to power constantly talking about democracy, people power. The people will decide. I'll make no decisions. In 4 years, he hasn't asked the people a single thing. He's just, not only he doesn't ask the people, forget about asking the opposition, forget about asking the diaspora. He doesn't even ask his own party leaders, his own advisors, ministers, the parliament, the president, the court system, nothing. The one-man rule. It's a dictatorship.
Yes. Like for 2 years, he never one day gave public press conference.
Right. It's all prearranged. The questions are first censored by this one lady he brings on the air, and they decide what questions to answer, which ones to ignore. And in the past, even with that, some journalists complained that they have changed the wording of their question. They have no right to do that. But if there was a live press conference, the way we know a press conference should be, then journalists can get up and ask anything he wants. Then if he doesn't answer, he avoids giving an answer. They do a follow-up. They pin him down. But there's no journalists to pin him down, to follow up, nothing. He just says whatever he wants. Then they go on to the next question.
Yeah, I honestly, doesn't matter whether you like them, you hate them. All the definition you just explained is a dictatorship definition. He spent millions on police to protect him. He's spending, giving raise to the civil servant to get their loyalties. And so basically, he just built this dictatorship. Now, now we know that, everybody knows that. Um, what do you see, like, what is tomorrow is going to do? Is he gonna come back and says, well, I met those four leaders and they all tell me to uh, lower your demand, and they want Azerbaijan and Artsakh to negotiate, and I'm gonna deal with Armenia, and I'm gonna sign peace. What Armenian people gonna do?
Well, just the background of the viewers, those who don't follow the news like we do. Tomorrow in Prague, Pashinyan is going to meet with President Erdogan for the first time in his life, after talking to him on the phone a couple of months ago. And then he's going to have another meeting same day with Aliyev and Charles Michel, the president of the European Council, and President Macron. So there's a four-way meeting about Azerbaijan and Armenia, and then with Erdogan with Turkey and Armenia. So the Pashinyan has one thing that's sort of positive, if we can say positive. He discloses what he really wants to do, and he repeats it over and over. Like for months now, he's stuck on this. I want to make peace, and that sounds very innocent and nice to the regular average person who doesn't know what's going on. And if you ask average people, do you want peace? Who's going to say, no, I'm against peace. Everybody wants peace. But peace at what expense? You can't make peace when somebody's holding a gun to your head. That's not really peace. That's a forced agreement under duress or threat. We've already lost so much, and the Azeris and the Turks know that they're dealing with two problems on the Armenian side. One is a country that's weak, militarily weak, cannot defend itself, cannot protect its borders, and therefore Armenia will be forced to make concessions, whatever Azeris and Turks ask. And if they don't, they will keep attacking, which they've been attacking. And the second thing they know is that they're dealing with a leader of Armenia who's incompetent, who doesn't know what he's doing. So of course they're going to make mistakes. So they're very happy with dealing with Pashinyan. And in fact, once in a while, the Turkish side, the Azeri side, they criticize the opposition for objecting to Pashinyan's concessions, and they defend Pashinyan. Mm-hmm. Of course they would defend Pashinyan because Pashinyan is doing everything that they want. So they're happy with Pashinyan. They don't want Pashinyan to change and some other hardline Armenian comes to power and not give in to Azeri and Turkish demands. So that's where we are. And, our enemies are so mortal enemies that even when they get a lot of things, concessions from Pashinyan and from Armenia, they will never say, Azeris and Turks will never say, oh, we got plenty of things that don't belong to us, but we got it by force, so let's stop here. They will never say, let's stop here. Once you give in, they will continue asking for more and more until you have nothing to give. They take everything. So that's the situation now. Now, of course, Pashinyan has made no mistake. He repeatedly has announced that the Artsakh doesn't belong to Armenia. Artsakh is, he keeps saying the international community says that Artsakh is part of Azerbaijan. And then recently, last week, he said neither Russia nor Europe nor United States believe that Artsakh is an independent republic, that they refuse to recognize it. So he basically has prepared the ground for his defeatist attitude. And it's only a matter of time where he's going to say, I had no choice. They're too powerful, and I want my people to live in peace. So here it is. and I have the mandate of the people. He keeps using the mandate of the people. People haven't given him any kind of mandate to do any of those things. They just voted for him barely by bare bone majority, and even then, 51% of the voters did not even participate in the elections. So he got the votes of 24% of the voters, and probably of the population of Armenia, maybe 10% or less. So that's not what I call an overwhelming mandate by the people of Armenia. Forget about diaspora. So he always has made no secret of his plans to give up Artsakh, give up many other things that beyond Artsakh in Armenia. As I said, Azeris invaded Armenia on May 12, 2021, a year and a half ago. And we haven't seen in a year and a half that Pashinyan has not only hasn't done anything to defend Armenia's territories, which is his constitutional obligation to defend Armenia's borders. That's why he's the prime minister. He even, besides not doing anything, he stopped even talking about it. One would think that if you're weak, you don't have the power to do anything about it, at least you complain. Complaining doesn't cost anything, doesn't need weapons. All you need to do is just talk about it. He has stopped talking about it. Just like he stopped talking about the prisoners of war, been sitting there for 2 years now. So neither does anything nor talks about anything. So it's a hopeless situation. And I'll come to the meeting tomorrow and give you my prediction of what's going to happen.
All right, so we will talk to you tomorrow, but I think it's predictable. He'll kind of come back, says those are powerful countries. This is what they want me to do. And that's why individually he went, met them, he planned all these things. And and tomorrow Erdogan is going to be smiling, laughing, having a dinner with Erdogan. And that was his Turkish dream. And so tomorrow he's getting his dream.
Well, before getting into the substance of the meeting, I have a more basic issue with the meeting. Before we go into any details, here's the basic issue. We have in front of Pashinyan sitting Erdogan, who's a very cunning, clever man. He knows how to play on a tightrope, and he's with NATO, he's with Russia, he's with this side, that side, he's on all sides. He knows how to manipulate the international world, and he has a powerful military, and he projects his force in Libya, in Ethiopia, in Somalia, in Iraq, in Syria, in Cyprus, and now threatening Greece. Of course, Artsakh and Armenia. So what we have tomorrow is very simple. Let me draw a simple picture. You don't need high-level political analysis for this. So we have a table tomorrow. On one side is sitting a fox or a tiger. On the other side is sitting Pashinyan, a lamb or a sheep. Now, knowing that one is a fox or a tiger and the other one is a lamb or a sheep, it doesn't take much imagination to realize what's going to be the outcome of such a meeting. Pashinyan has no experience running anything, and now he is the leader of a country with million problems, war, economy, all sorts of things. And knowing him, how he operates, he probably did not consult any experts in Armenia before going, since he thinks he knows everything when he knows nothing. So he doesn't have the benefit of getting any advice, wise counsel from anybody in Armenia. There are experts in Armenia who are experts on Turkey. They could have given him a lot of good advice, but that's not him. He doesn't listen to anybody. He thinks he knows everything, and he doesn't. So he just goes cold turkey into the meeting without preparation. And then Erdogan is going to come out with everything, and Pashinyan is gonna come out with nothing.
I mean,
No matter what he says at the end of the meeting.
you know, like when you go, I've been negotiating with businesses stuff. When you go there and you sit, you negotiate. People look at you and see what you did, how successful you are, what negotiation you succeed in, what you failed. This guy have never done zero negotiation in his life. Zero. He never run business. He never run. He doesn't have any military experience. Here is this idiot, as you just described, is sitting around the table. He's just gonna sit in there and take it. He doesn't know how to ask questions. You know, whatever they told. This been like 2 years. Every week, every month, he's going for meeting with this, meeting with that. Not a single day he came back. He says, follow Armenia. I went there. This was tough negotiation, but here is what I got for you. Never. All he wants peace.
Well, he's not going to get anything. The other thing, and this may be too sophisticated to expect from an Armenian leader, but usually leaders in different countries, when they're meeting with their opponent, especially if it's an enemy, not only they get the wise counsel of their advisors, experts they call in to brief them, to prepare them. That's one thing. The second thing that most leaders do before meeting, their experts prepare for them the psychological profile of the other leader. So that profile, this is a common thing. It's not unheard of. When Biden meets with Putin, they know Putin inside out, his character, his personality, what makes him tick, what makes him agree. They know all his weaknesses and strengths. So they play to that in the meeting. So they're prepared for that. Pashinyan, I'm sure, doesn't even listen to anybody's advice, let alone have a psychological profile prepared for Erdogan. So he is going cold without knowing anything. And Erdogan, I'm sure he's prepared. He knows Pashinyan inside out. He knows what kind of person, what his weaknesses are. And Erdogan, who doesn't need preparation, but I'm sure he's come prepared.
Oh, he doesn't need to prepare. He's been 20 years. It's all of them.
Even though he doesn't need to be prepared, but even then he comes prepared.
Yes.
Any self-respecting leader will always prepare for a meeting. Yeah. Even if you're a businessman, you prepare for a meeting.
Yes.
What are your goals from the meeting? What do you expect to get out of it? What do you think the other side is going to ask from you? And what is your position on the request in advance? You go through this like a scenario building, and you prepare yourself of how you're going to handle this meeting. Pashinyan is just going to walk in, sit down, and talk to Erdogan like he talks to anybody else who he has met in the streets of Yerevan when he was protesting, or when he's sitting in his office in Yerevan. This is a very tough negotiation, and
it's a wrong person. It's a wrong person to go sit with these evil guys. They've been 20 years in business. They have negotiated. They went to war. Things. Pashinyan, an idiot, gonna go sit with them. It's just like mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, in principle, I'm not opposed to anybody talking to your enemy. After all, you talk to your enemies because there's a problem, try to solve the problem. But if you're not prepared for the negotiations, if you're not competent, and you're not going to be able to get anything for in the interest of your country, it's a complete waste. And in fact, when you go there, you show your weakness to the other side. And he keeps talking about peace, but he's forgetting is something very simple a child would know, which is Azeris and Turks are not prepared to make peace with Armenia. Just the opposite. They want a piece of Armenia, not peace with Armenia, peace of Armenia.
Yeah.
And somebody who was a bloodthirsty enemy to you, how do you expect to sign peace? In order to sign peace, you need to prepare the environment, the atmosphere for a peaceful settlement. Negotiations means they give in to Armenian demands to a degree, Armenia gives in to their demands to a degree, they come to a compromise. But this is not a compromise because it's all just handing over the store to the enemy and under the guise of establishing peace. A peace under duress with a gun held to your head is not peace. It's not going to last. These people have been attacking Armenia, and they're going to keep attacking. A few days after this meeting, there'll be another attack by Azerbaijan. More soldiers died, more soldiers kidnapped and held prisoner. And like this, on and on. What Armenia needs, a competent leader, number one. Number two, to arm Armenia to the teeth so Armenia can protect itself and not rely on outside powers to come and save us. For thousands of years, no one has come to save us from any of those calamities we've experienced as a nation. We've suffered occupation, massacres, genocide. We've lost everything, and no one has come to our rescue. And you would think after thousands of years of this experience, we would learn and not expect any help from anybody. But no, we keep saying, Russians will come and help us, Americans will come and help us, French will come and help us. And now it's a common conversation, Iran will come and help us. If you rely on other people to save you, you're going to be very naturally the victim. No one's going to save you. You have to save yourself. All these other countries, what they care, first of all, is their own national interest. They don't care about Armenia. Why would Putin or Biden or Macron worry about Armenia's interests? They're elected by their own people to defend the interests of their own nation.
Yeah.
If they have something to gain from siding with Armenia, then they'll do it. But they have nothing to gain by siding with Armenia. They have bigger fish to fry. Turkey is a member of NATO, is a powerful country. Azerbaijan has a lot of oil and gas, which Europe is now deprived of, and the European Union is signing also agreements with Azerbaijan, and supposedly in order to cut themselves away from Putin's gas supply. But they cut away from Putin and they go and land in another dictator, Aliyev's lap. So they haven't done anything.
I know you're a very respectful journalist. You write with the facts, but sometimes all of us have this analyzing and predicting, because I think this whole thing was planned. As you could see, like how he's playing psychological warfare with Armenian people. Every time he goes meet them, he came back, Azerbaijan attack, and then he goes meet them, attack. So basically it's psychologically playing this game with Armenian people to say, like we have no choice. You could see our soldiers dying every day. This is really well planned, well organized, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, the other thing I would like to add is Erdogan constantly is putting pressure, saying that in order for Armenia to hope to have the border open with Turkey, Armenia has to accommodate Azerbaijan's demands. And we know what those demands are: more territory, keep the prisoners of war, give up completely Artsakh, which Pashinyan already has decided. So Erdogan says all this hostile, demanding, forceful things to Pashinyan. Pashinyan never answers Erdogan, never says anything back. Again, it's one thing not to have weapons to fight, but God has given you a mouth. You can at least open your mouth and speak and say something. No. Aliyev on a daily basis for years kept saying Yerevan is Erivan, Azeri town, Zangezur is Azerbaijan, Lake Sevan is Azerbaijan. No reply from Pashinyan.
No.
So Aliyev and Erdogan, they say the most outrageous things against Armenians and Armenia, no answer. But the minute any Armenian in Armenia says anything in the street, police surround him, arrest him, drag him into their van, take him to jail, and then try him. And then if you're, even the diaspora is not safe from this man.
No.
As we saw in the last couple of months, 3 diaspora leaders from Europe, just because they disagreed with Pashinyan, they've done nothing wrong. They've done nothing to criminal or wrong, just they disagree with him. They came to Yerevan to visit their homeland, and Pashinyan ordered them to send back from the airport, not allow them in the country.
I think
he is more of an enemy of the Armenian people than the real enemies.
It's out there. It's out there. It's exactly right. I think Erdogan gonna say to him, get rid of diaspora. I'm gonna give you $1 billion for your economy. He's gonna promise him all that stuff, and Pashinyan's gonna do it.
Well, you remind me what Çavuşoğlu himself said. He said, Pashinyan is willing to work with us, but the diaspora is pressuring him.
Yeah.
The diaspora is hardliners. They don't let him make peace with us. What he's really saying in simple English, that Pashinyan is ready to cave into us. We're very happy with that. But these bad guys in diaspora, they're ruining our plan, our scheme, our game, and they constantly advise Pashinyan not to listen to the diaspora.
Yeah.
Why? Because so that they can get what they want out of him. Whereas we're no fools. We're in the diaspora. We know what's going on. We know Turks and Turkey for hundreds of years, and we know their games. We know their tricks, and we don't fall for their tricks. That's why they don't want to talk to us. They want to talk to Pashinyan. Why you want to talk to a hardliner if you can talk to a soft person and get what you want from him? Actually,
the former economic minister or somebody, he said something very right. He said, if people think today Turkey is different than yesterday Turkey, then they are not Armenian. It's true. If you think Turkey is changed, then you are not Armenian.
Yeah, this isn't today's minister. This is a former minister.
Former minister, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So today's minister will say, oh no, we need to make peace with our enemies. We need to sign agreement, and we need to provide food to our people, jobs, income, and which reminds me, in January of 2020, later in the year, that big war broke, and we lost so much. But in January of that year, Pashinyan gave a speech to the Armenian people, and he said, 2020 will be the best year of your life in Armenia.
Yeah.
You're going to have jobs, you're going to have plenty of money, plenty of food, income, you're going to have everything. This year is going to be the greatest year of your life. And what happened? We had the worst year of our history after the genocide of 1915.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are still falling for him, being duped by him, deceived by him, and they believe what he says. The only good news is that his rating used to be 80% when he first came to power. Now it's down to 30%, but even 30% is too much. His rating should be 1%. I don't see how any Armenian can follow him and believe in him when he has disappointed, he's lost so much, he still hasn't done anything to protect Armenia. And I talk to military leaders in Armenia, and I'm shocked by what they tell me. I'm not a military expert, but these people are military experts. They tell me the soldiers at the border facing Azeris, their commanders are ordering them not to shoot at the attacking Azeris. And Pashinyan says, if we attack, we're going to start another war. So what is the option?
So
when the Azeris attack you, they come and shoot at you, kill your family, and then if they don't kill you, they kidnap you, they take you prisoner of war. And as we saw this gruesome pictures of the video, they kill the prisoners of war, they cut their throats, they do the most god-awful things to them, and they're given instructions not to shoot. How can you protect anything by being told not to shoot?
And then he's gonna go tomorrow, sit with Azerbaijan, with Turkey. Hey, how are you? I'm doing good. Let's have another ice cream.
Right.
It's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how Armenian people, there is no revolution. I mean, this guy is what he did. How could those people in diaspora, in Armenia, all silent? You know, I was at ANC. I mean, they do a great job, those guys. And 2 days, and I was in American University. Not a single person talk anything about Pashinyan or what is going on in the country. All they were talking is supporting Armenia, supporting Artsakh. That's about it.
Well, every time I talk about Pashinyan, I get phone calls and emails from people that say, Mr. Sassounian, why do you criticize the Pashinyan? Do you think that's patriotic when we're in such trouble? I'll tell you what I answer. And then the second thing they say is, instead of criticizing him, help him, give him advice. So I tell them, I said, listen, I know all these things, and here's the answer to your two questions. Number one, if you see your country going downhill and you keep your mouth shut, then you're complicit in the destruction of Armenia. If you see the leaders doing something wrong and you don't criticize, you let him continue doing the wrong thing, then you're just as guilty as he is, because you're letting him continue destroying the country. You have to open your mouth. In fact, opening your mouth and criticizing an incompetent leader is a patriotic thing, contrary to what people think. Secondly, in terms of why you're criticizing him, go and help him, advise him. I tell them, I've helped every single Armenian leader. I've met hundreds of hours spent with all of them. I gave them all sorts of advice. They've listened to some of it. I'm happy that they listen to anything I say. They don't have to. And I've always been willing to help. Armenia is also our homeland. Those of us who live in diaspora, it's every Armenian's homeland, not just those who live there. So when we help the leader, we help the country, we help the people. So I'm always willing to help. But just be willing to help is not end of the story. What you need is two other conditions in order to be able to help, even though I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help right now, tomorrow. Two things are required. One is the other person, Pashinyan or his people, they should be willing to work with you, to
listen to you.
Extend a hand, saying, let's work together. I'm willing to do it. Are they willing? No, they're not willing. Anybody who criticizes them, they treat them like an enemy, and they even don't let them come in the country if they're from outside.
Yeah.
The second thing is, even if you're able to give advice to them, they don't listen to your advice. They have no use for your advice. They don't need your advice.
They don't listen if their own people.
Their own people they don't listen to. How are they going to listen to somebody from outside?
Exactly.
Let alone somebody who's critical of them. So we're not able to help them. We are willing to help them. For the record, people constantly advising me to help them. Yes, I'm helping. In fact, as we speak right now, we're in the process. As you know, my other job, besides being a journalist, I'm the president of Armenia Artsakh Fund, a charity that I helped form in 1989, right after the earthquake. It's been now 33 years. And in 33 years, and continuing even today, regardless of who is the leader, whether I like him, don't like him, I'm trying to help the people of Armenia. We've taken to Armenia in the last 33 years $962 million of humanitarian aid. We're very close to reaching $1 billion. So I'm not the one that says I'm not going to help Armenia. I'm willing to help, and I am helping. Even now, there are containers full of medicine, millions of medicine on the way to Armenia. And we always have to fight with the leaders in Armenia because they always create problems, bureaucracy, red tape, in making it difficult for us to even send help, free help. And I'm not even doing business in Armenia. I'm not even expecting any income from them, just one-way help. And I have a difficulty doing that.
Let me show you something you would remember. Remember this defense minister when he came to Los Angeles? You know?
Yes, Sarkisian.
Remember him?
Yes.
He came, he listened, he gave lecture. We were all sitting there, you know?
Yeah, that's me. That's me sitting there.
Right, there you know? And so there we were all sitting there. This is in the conference, and there is you, there's me, there is Ara Khachaturian, this is the guy and the journalist, you know? And this guy used to listen to people. And we asked him so many questions that day, but not Pashinyan or his people.
Well, Wally, to be fair, we've had this problem all along ever since independence. Every leader that I've talked to, and I've spent hundreds of hours with each one of them, they're very happy with themselves. They think they know everything. They don't like to listen to anybody. And the issue with me is when I sit with them, I start telling them honestly all the things that's going wrong in the country, all the things that they are doing wrong. Not to pick on them. I don't get any joy of criticizing them. I just want them to rule the country better, improve the governance so that the people will have a better life. I try to help the people by helping the leaders. So I've done this in the past. I'm willing to do it now. I will continue to do it. Why? Because it's our homeland. It's not just the homeland of the people who live there. And then the other thing I just remembered, people say, oh, you have no right to interfere in how the country is run. You don't live in Armenia. I tell them, listen, I'm not interfering in anything. All I'm doing, I'm giving analysis and opinion. And why is it that as a human being, as an American citizen, as a journalist, I have the freedom of expression. I have the freedom to express my opinion. Why is it that every day for years I give my opinion about things that happen in Russia, in China, in France, in England, Germany, all over the world? We always discuss all these current events. Why nobody ever objects to anything I say about any of those countries? But the minute I criticize Armenia, they say you have no right.
Yeah.
In fact, what they're really saying, but they don't realize what they're saying is, if you say nice things about Pashinyan, you're welcome to say it. But if you're going to criticize, then you have no right to say it.
Yeah.
But what happened to the fact that I don't live in Armenia? But if you say nice things, they ignore that you don't live in Armenia. It's okay if you say nice things. But if you don't say nice things, immediately they say you don't live in Armenia.
So
those are all childish excuses.
So can you predict tomorrow what happened, or we wait until tomorrow we'll talk about it?
Well, I mean, of course, I don't know what's going to really happen. My guess is that they're going to meet. They're going to put a announcement, very positive announcement that we talked, we spoke, we are willing to make peace and to get along, and there are our foreign ministers will have a follow-up meeting. Both with Turkey and Armenia, Azerbaijan. And so they're going to put their best face forward because none of them want to look bad. None of them want to say, no, I said no to them. And Pashinyan is not going to say no. We will never know what really goes on inside the meeting. because we're not there, and they're not going to disclose their private conversation. So they're going to put out an announcement. They'll say a few words if there's any media around, and they're going to put their best foot forward and say the nicest things. But nothing will change.
They're going to sugarcoat it, everything.
Right, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So we'll see you tomorrow. Maybe at what time is good? 7:30 maybe?
We'll see. We'll get the report and then talk.
Yeah, okay, let me know. So we'll talk tomorrow. We'll see. I'm sure I could even predict what's going to be, but I'm just going to leave it for tomorrow. We'll go from there. Okay, don't go away. Stay for a minute. All right, thank you very much for watching, and thank you, Harut Sassounian, for your input. And we're definitely going to see you tomorrow, and we're going to analyze what has happened those meetings. Thank you, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.